This is the 17th season of Bass Talk Live with your hosts, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pingrack. BTL is brought to you by Lawrence, Bass Cat Boats, APCO, Ducket Fishing, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, Exo Lures, Yamagatsu, The Bass Tank, and Denali Rods. BTL coming at you.
Good Wednesday, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where Matt and I are going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, how you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing good because,
Why
a
is
number
that?
of reasons. I'm typically a very happy person.
Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah.
Actually, Chris Bowes, tournament director from the Opens, called me yesterday, had not listened to BTL, and just wanted to check in on me, make sure everything was good, and we were on the same page.
That's awful nice.
That was awful nice.
Yeah.
He said that, I believe in a roundabout way, he said he had never seen someone cross his stage so angry. And that typically that is not the attitude that I portray while on the Bassmaster Open stage. And then, he talked to me right after the
That's
weigh-in,
awesome.
but then he literally just was doing his tournament duties to make sure that one of his anglers, one of his 400, whatever, how many Opens, guys, 600 anglers was okay. Also, Bradley Hallman has called me each day and said, "You doing good?"
Checking on.
And I was like, dude, I'm fine. Like, you don't have to keep checking on me. He checked on me on Sunday, on Monday, and on Tuesday.
Can you go back and look at the replay of the weigh-in? Is that available?
I bet it might be.
Folks, you need to check that out.
It would be way towards the end because I was as we well know, a 420 check-in. Anyway,
late flight.
But I'm doing great because there was a box on the table yesterday. And like you said, we have the greatest listeners
It's pretty
in
cool.
all of fishing, the most
Yeah.
educated, and sometimes the most giving. Obviously, you have your scholarship fund, which there's a link to. You also need to put the link back up for the clothing store because we still have...
Oh, it's back open?
No, not the clothes, just hats, buffs, and stickers. Because those are things that I purchased, and there's a couple left of them. So she was like, hey, we just kept those up there, and then as soon as you order them, then they'll go out.
All right, well, give me the link, and I'll have
I'll
it
put
posted
the link
today.
back up. The rest of it, like I said, the store closed on the 18th. The stuff should start shipping this week. It's not printed until the store closes.
Yeah.
Stuff starts shipping roughly 10 days after, so if you're waiting on your BTL clothing order, it should be on its way.
It's coming.
It is coming.
All right.
Back to this box that was sitting on it, and it was from Joel Crawford. I said his name. That's fine.
Yeah.
Handwritten letter.
Very nice.
Had a number of handwritten letters recently. Handwritten letters, always nice to have. It included 3 things. It included a donation to your scholarship fund.
Which is awesome.
It included Chick-fil-A gift cards.
That's awesome.
And it also included 3 very unique handmade wooden carved swim baits.
Are they wake baits?
I believe they're wake baits. A dude named Andrew Miller makes them. It's bass _ grass. And from what I can tell, the dude mows lawns and makes baits. So bass and grass.
Cool.
Very cool stuff. So I'm excited to try this out. I am almost scared. I think you had one for Hallman, or who did you say?
No, it was Hallman.
Yeah, one for Hallman, one for you, and one for me. I'm scared to throw this up north, though. This has pike and muskie written all over it. But a really cool little wake bait there that Joel had Andrew Miller make for us. So very cool. I'm debating on whether to hang it up or to actually throw this thing.
You need to use it.
I feel like I would use it. It's the perfect derby size to bounce me from that 12-pound mark to the 14-pound mark.
You need to use it, man.
Which we have to do now. So great morning. Thank you very much, Joel. That is awesome. And then I think he's out in the Hartwell area.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. So
handwritten letter.
Many thanks for sending that stuff there to us.
That's what's going on.
All right, real quick, got a good show today. Great show today. We're going to have Steve Kennedy on here in about 15, 20 minutes. get his take on his 2021 season, talk about next year, talk about what he's doing during the offseason, and anything else that we want to bounce off Steve. Wonder what he thinks about the SEC thing, being a huge Auburn fan, and we're getting ready to take part in the SEC. When I say us, we're both OU grads, so
at some point in the next 1 to 3 years.
I think it's going to happen quicker.
We'll have to
later.
ask him about it. I'm sure he's got a...
Yeah. So, good show today. I want to touch on a subject, and we have talked about this several times on the show over the years. And actually, it was a pretty decent discussion, I think a couple of years ago, about whether or not that bass fishing would ever be in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. You remember that?
I believe there was like a little push. There's a Team USA Bass that they do stuff like travel over. I think Scott Martin. What is it? Let's see if I can name it. David Dudley, Scott Martin, Mark I should not have started naming names. That was a mistake.
Was Rabanus in there?
Yeah, Mark Rose, Fred Rabanus. Is Charlie Evans on it?
I don't know. I don't remember, man. Was that the Euro Cup or whatever they called it?
Yeah, but they've got a team. Like, they have a team still.
Anyway, I ran across this story in the Wall Street Journal that is mind-boggling. It's called...
mind-boggling or mind-bottling?
Boggling.
Okay.
All right.
That's a joke from a movie.
Well, it is the 9 insanely strict dress codes enforced at the Olympic golf venue.
Okay.
So all the golfers have to abide by these 9 rules. All right, here's the first one. Suit up. Blazers or jackets are required upon arrival at, and I can't even say the name of what the country club is. All right. When it is equipment is relaxed to a jacket optional. In other words, basically, you got to show up in a jacket all the time.
It's like some of those restaurants down in New Orleans. Like when you walk in, they've got a rack full of blazers that you have to throw on before you head in.
Yeah. All right. Here is...
My uncle runs some of those.
Dang it, it's not... All right. Rule number 2, time to break out... Oh, and what I want you to do is kind of relate this, that if they had these rules in Japan for all the bass fishing guys...
What is all this again?
This is the 9 requirements that the players have to adhere to during all the golf competition in the Olympics.
So, like, you just don't show up in your sweats and then throw on Team USA and
got to show up in a
suit, a jacket.
Yeah.
Okay. Brian's saying that this country club is pretty much the Augusta of Japan.
Pretty much.
Okay. So we're through rule 1. Got to wear a jacket, a blazer of some sort.
Number 2, time to break out the knee highs. Shorts are forbidden upon arrival and may only be worn during play if they are paired with knee-high socks.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
I believe that's some weird like Japanese fetish stuff,
so
isn't it?
If you're going to play, you can only play in knee-high socks if you're going to wear shorts. Now, who would be the best example to wear knee-highs?
Well, John Cruz and Gerald Swindle have worn the compression socks.
Really?
Yes. And a number of other guys.
Huh.
Hunter. I believe Fletcher Shryock has worn the compression socks as well.
Well, that's a little different.
Knee-high. But they're knee-high.
Yeah. Okay, rule
With
number
shorts.
3. Sorry, cargo shorts are not allowed.
Well, that's just a standard fashion statement. You got a caddy for all the things in your pocket.
Yeah. Man, I'm having issues with this.
Why is it one of those
website
where you're trying to get ads?
I'm trying to scroll and
They want the ads.
they want the ad. Jeez.
What are the ads for?
Golf clubs. Imagine that. Even when I try to scroll down. All right, so no cargo shorts. I may have to go to the phone because I got it pulled up. Number 4, collars up. In an odd turn from the preceding, all right, dress code makes a rare exception for collars on golf shirts, which say they can be worn up.
So if you wanted to Ricky Fowler your shirt, you could.
Yeah, screw this, man. I'm tired.
Swear
of dealing
jar,
with this.
Jeffries.
That's not a bad word.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay, I'll put in $5.
Unbelievable. Breaking your own rules on the show.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Number 5.
Wait, so you can't wear... So you technically could wear shorts with knee-high socks and a popped collar.
Yeah. can be worn during play. However, the etiquette and the fellowship committee ask that you return your collar to the seated position upon your return to the clubhouse.
So you can be pretentious on the course, but they would like you to be subdued in the clubhouse. Okay.
Yeah. Perhaps, number 5, perhaps you like layered clothing as you play the game.
Is that like a long sleeve shirt under and over?
But you should choose to play, if you choose to play with a long sleeve underlayered shirt, all right, you must find a long sleeve over player.
That means you can't have the long sleeve with a short sleeve over it.
Yeah. The dress code specifically forbids layering short sleeves and non-matching long sleeves or arm warmers that resemble long sleeves. How many guys out there wear the jerseys with short sleeves? You ever see short
there's a number
jerseys?
of them. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It just depends on the angler, on the freedom that they like on their forearms.
Okay. Number 6, upon entry to the club, among the forbidden items are sneakers, sandals, slippers, and golf shoes.
So what, you got to wear like dress shoes? Or
Metal spikes cannot be used and are forbidden at all times. Interesting. All right, number 7.
I mean, you literally have Austin Felix who shows up and fishes with no shoes and pajama pants.
I know. Number 7. The crown jewel of KCC's dress code rules. In the summer months, members and guests are asked to change their shirt and trousers before entering the dining room.
I could see that. You don't want to
this is
next to some sweaty, smelly dude.
No, this is done to prevent any damp seats in the dining area.
Yeah, that's kind of gross. You just have a case of the swamp. Just go in and...
Oh my gosh. Wow. Number 8, quiet down. If you already weren't concerned enough with your clothing issues, you better cool off those colors too. The dress code explicitly prohibits loud colors with collars and conspicuous designs at all times.
This just sounds like a party.
All right, what do you think that would do to the fishing industry for the loud colors and the jerseys?
Yeah.
And conspicuous designs?
Yeah, like I said, someone mentioned it. Brian Thrift he only wears cargo shorts, and Skeet Reese would not make it past the opening. He'd be fine on the course but
oh geez. Yeah. And then finally, to ensure that towels are going to be used in a proper way, you are not
What's an
welcome.
Improper way to use a towel?
Hang on. You are not welcome to hang a towel around your neck or shoulders or waist or your trousers at any time.
So what if it was necessary? What if you had a incident?
I know golf and I played golf a long time, and I've been to country clubs and all that and everything. And I know it's kind of uppity, but this is ridiculous, dude.
I will give you.
Ridiculous.
You know how I like to throw out some good Instagram follows every now and then.
Yeah.
There's one, and I'm sure guys follow it, and it has given me hours and hours of entertainment. And you need to follow Club Pro Guy on Instagram.
Oh, he's awesome.
Word. Club Pro Guy. That's the guy that I show you. And basically, you'll get the gist of it after a while, but this has been going on for a number of years. He's basically a Mexican mini tour legend who is now in a struggling Club Pro Guy. And, they go through the whole Wednesday night season and all sorts of stuff. And it's kind of a spoof, but done very seriously. It is absolute gold.
It is. It's
and
really
it reminds
good.
me so much of the Wednesday night jackpots, the Thursday night men's league.
Yeah. So I don't know if fishing will ever be an Olympic sport, but some of the guidelines and rules. You remember, what year was it? Was it the first couple of years on the Elite Series? They did have a dress code.
Yeah, and then
You
they
remember
ended
that?
up with like a jean sponsor, and then it was okay,
Yeah.
and now it's we got Steve Kennedy on. I was trying to think. Have you ever seen Steve dressed up, like in a collared shirt and stuff?
Yeah. Dinners during Classic Week.
Would the Auburn colored hat be considered loud? Like, would they be like that hat is too loud for the golf course?
I don't think so. No, because it's the
Pop your
it's the
collar
blue
right
one.
now. Just do it once. I just want to see what it looks like on you.
It looks goofy, man.
No, pop it.
What? I never wear my collar up.
Pop it.
Yeah. You can't even tell.
Stay aside. Turn to the side. Oh my gosh.
That's not happening.
You look like Batista. Just no neck. Just
Yeah. Not going to happen. Anyway, I found that quite interesting. And
we're matching today too.
As you mentioned, somebody said that this is a very upscale, I think they're kind of uptight country club over in Japan where they're playing. But
I can't stand the KVD buckle shirt tuck.
Yeah.
You know what? It's
Yeah.
Kevin Van Dam. It's kind of like Gretzky tucking in the side of his jersey. He's earned the right to wear it however the heck he wants.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
He's done it for as long as I can remember.
Yeah. Do you think they still have a dress code on the Elite Series? I don't think so. I think it's
well, no,
wear
because
whatever you want
Austin
to do.
Felix wears pajama pants.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I think it's just you
we'll
can wear
have to
whatever
ask
you want
Steve.
to.
He could go up there in a kilt.
How cool would that be?
I mean, literally, it would be cool on a hot summer day. Do you imagine rolling down the river in his bass cap, wearing a kilt, trying to keep that thing down, going 76?
Would that make the Today Show? Would we finally get some pub on one of the morning shows?
I mean, it would be refreshing.
They win a tournament in a kilt.
Just up there, the gale force winds, trying to keep his kilt down.
That would be good. That's some marketability. Who's going to step out there? What company is going to step up and get a supplemented kilt?
The angling kilt. Keep your worms in one. You just match it with a fanny pack.
Oh my gosh.
The kilt fanny pack combo.
There you have it, man. If you make it, hold on. If you make it to the Elite Series, you got to wear a kilt
with
in one
some
event.
Jerusalem cruisers.
Yeah.
You know, those sandals that wrap around like 90 times around your feet. Jerusalem cruisers, kilt, fanny pack, popped collar.
Styling right there, man.
And then go with the Joey Cifuentes cowboy hat. You're golden.
A kilt.
And like I'm saying,
Somebody out there is thinking about it right now,
you're
Matthew.
fine, but the issue would be running. You would have to wear some like dungarees underneath it. You couldn't go with like the whitey tighty.
Could you imagine? Is there anybody out there that is willing to send us a picture
of them fishing in a kilt?
Fishing in a kilt.
There's no one who listens to us who owns a kilt.
You think? I disagree. Somebody out there has a kilt.
Do you know who owns a kilt?
Me? What? Personally? Not
You
in the
own a
fishing-
kilt?
No. Personally, do I know that owns a kilt?
Yes.
One person.
You know who owns a kilt?
Yeah. He played the bagpipes. You know, they wear the kilts when they're parading around playing the bagpipes. Now, he doesn't wear it all the time. He only wears it when he's performing, playing the bagpipes. But do we have anything we could give away if somebody...
No, I don't want to see guys in kilts.
I want to see if anybody wants to do it,
Why would you
man.
want people to send you pictures of them in a skirt?
Can you imagine fishing the Wednesday night jackpot in a jersey and a kilt?
It would be
That's worth something.
I'm telling you what, the Wednesday night jackpot on Thunderbird in about July or August when you're offshore and there's not a stitch of wind, a kilt would be very freeing.
There you have it. Who's willing to do it? Who's going to send us a picture, jersey, and a kilt? Look, we're going to strum up some business for all those supplementing companies out there.
Yeah, that would, if you're a kayak angler, you got to sit there and pedal. That would just be awful if you had to watch.
Who is going to be the first person to step out and fish in a kilt? That's what we want to see, man. Wow. Interesting. All right, man. That was, I had no idea where that was going to go.
And
but
look, Steve's still in the queue. We haven't scared him off.
No, he's been laughing here and there. So, we'll do this.
We definitely need to take a commercial break and reset.
Yeah. But I'm quite interested if anybody out there is willing to step out
Why do you want to
and
see
step
that?
up. I just want to see if
Why can't you be
somebody
like,
wants
hey,
to do
send
it.
us pictures of your 8-pounders? No, you want guys in kilts?
They willing to do it, man. It's another sponsorship opportunity. That
Where
area
is the
could be sold.
opportunity?
You don't think somebody winning a tournament in a kilt would get some pub?
I don't think it would drive business with the vast majority of people who follow professional bass
But it would
fishing.
get some pub, would it not?
I don't know.
If somebody said, hey, I'll pay you $10,000 if you wear this kilt during day one of the Bassmaster Classic, would you do it?
I'd be like, how high do you want it?
There you have it. He's willing to do it. If you make it, Matthew, somebody out there, 10 grand, he'll wear a kilt.
That would not pass the bass staff.
Are you kidding me? They let somebody wear, who was that? They let Matt Robertson wear a jersey with the sleeves
Yeah,
cut
but
off.
you don't know what went on behind the scenes after he got back from the weigh-in.
Do I want to know?
Did you notice he wore a full jersey the next 2 days?
Yeah. But he said he got that approved. I mean, they wouldn't let him go out there if it wasn't pre-approved.
When did he say he got that approved?
I thought he did.
He did not.
Okay, well, news to me. Thought he got it approved. Anyway, this has been Kilt Talk, folks, right here on a Wednesday morning.
KTL.
Anyway.
Breezing through your Wednesday morning.
Yeah, that's us. All right, everybody, coming back with Steve Kennedy here on a Wednesday. Everybody, stay tuned.
Elite FS puts the full range of Lowrance fish finding tools at your fingertips. Find fish with active imaging 3-in-1 with Fish Reveal. Target fish with active target live sonar and watch fish react to your lure as it happens. Built-in C-Map Contour Plus charts make it easy to find key fishing areas. But best-in-class charts and powerful sonar is only the beginning. It's easy to build your fully networked FS system. From sonar and waypoint sharing to controlling the Ghost trolling motor and power poles. Lowrance Elite FS. Targeting fish just got easier.
BassCat's legendary 20-foot platform has been paired with angler-approved accessories for 2021. Puma FTD features the proven hull used by many of the top names in bass fishing today, backed by a transferable lifetime warranty. The Puma FTD boasts a full team deck concept which enhances efficiency for you and your tournament partners. Turnkey tournament-winning performance. The Puma FTD SP from BassCat.
Let's face it, fishing electronics are no longer an afterthought. They've become a necessity. And at the Bass Tank, our experts match you with the right electronics, provide professional installation, and educate you to help maximize your catching results while providing support along the way. Because let's be honest, it's about catching, not just fishing. And when you're ready for better results, join the Bass Tank team. Visit us today on Facebook or go to thebasstank.com.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
I've made my living on the water for over 20 years.
For 14 years.
For over 23 years.
I've worn a bunch of different clothing brands over the years.
Some companies big.
And some companies small.
All of them said they were making clothing for us.
But none of them knew us.
None of them were us. Except for one.
Except for one.
Except one.
AFCO.
AFCO.
AFCO. AFCO.
Fishing isn't part of us. It is us.
Everyone, Brandon Polnick here. People always be asking me what I got tied on. I'm like, X-Zone lures. And they're like, Brandon, why you got X-Zone lures tied on? And I'm like, let me show you why.
The bite.
Get out of there. Get out of there. Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh, it's pretty big. Get in here. Oh, God. Giant. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I think you get the point.
Pro-inspired, pro-designed. Tested and proven by legends on the water. Dominating the tournament trail for over 50 years. Everything you need, one legendary brand. Strike King.
Hey guys, Major League Fishing Pro Jacob Wheeler here with my new Signature Series line of rods with Duck It Fishing. We have my 7.2 cranking rod right here. Crankbaits can be very fickle, and having the right, having a lot of tip can be too much, and having not enough tip can, lose a lot of fish. So you really got to be careful. If there's one or two techniques that I'm really adamant about having the perfect action is a crankbait, especially like a square bill, a DT6, those medium running crankbaits in the springtime when those fish's mouth are pretty tough. That's when I'm really on top of having my actions just perfect.
All right, we are back on a Wednesday. Don't forget, day 4 tomorrow. Frank Scalish. And you'll be on there too, right, man? Tomorrow?
Yeah, and then we have to go get hay.
Hay?
400 bales of hay.
Are they the round bales?
No, they're the fancy bales for the horses.
Oh, what's wrong with the round bales? Is that just bad
grass? It's not premium hay. Some of it has foxtail and stuff in it that can get up in your nostrils. And
yeah, this special hay.
This is premium hay.
How many bales?
400.
Oh my gosh!
It'll last almost a year.
You just stack it up. You stack it up.
They go to like some farm in Arkansas. It's like the farm of the year, the family-owned farm of the year. They have really good hay.
All right. Well, good luck with that, man. You're gonna be a little tired tomorrow.
I'm a little nervous too because I've got that, see that thing on the wrist?
Yeah, it's really disgusting.
I've had it there for years, and my doctor always said, we'll not mess with it till we have to because you can either drain it. I think it's called a ganglion cyst. We'll either drain it or surgery's like 2 to 4 months. Well, literally over the past month, it's gotten to the point where I have no strength in my hand anymore.
Ugh, not good.
I mean, look, I can go like this, and I can only go like that. It's bad. But I'm trying to get through the tournament season.
You got the spinning rod and reel in your left hand?
It's the right hand. That's the thing. Fortunately, my spinning rod and reel's in the right hand. I only reel with the left, but I mean, it's a little concerning.
Surgery after the season.
Post-season surgery.
Yeah. Outpatient, though.
I got a doctor's appointment next month after I get back for it. So.
All right. Keep an eye on that. All right. It is time to bring in our special guest, a man that he's been on this show quite a few times over the past.
He has. He's never had to sit through
years.
A kilt segment before he came on, though. I promise you that.
He's shaking his head no. Let's welcome in our guest. Steve, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well.
What are your thoughts on that first segment?
Do what?
Yeah, slow news, apparently. We wouldn't have to blow that hard to be an issue for me. How about
that? Hey, if somebody paid you $10,000 to wear a kilt at the Classic, would you do it?
Probably.
See?
Listen,
Probably.
Steve, you gotta be careful. Mark is approaching $10,000 for a scholarship fund. We're one banner away from the Steve Kennedy Kilt Fund, and I promise you're wearing a kilt on day one.
Anyway.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah. Listen, man, thank you so much. I know you got some time off now. I'm sure you're going to be very busy during the off season. We'll talk about that. But wanted to have you on, talk a little bit about your thoughts on your performance this year. What went well for you? What went wrong? What went good? What can you say about this year, Steve?
It was pretty typical for me. It goes like this. It's like riding a roller coaster. It's some of my best practices, I have a horrible tournament, and some of the worst, I end up doing well. You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
But
It
turned out well. We made the classic here at the end, and but yeah, I was sweating it there for a little while.
Yeah, we'll get into the classic here in a minute, but when you look at your game, say 10 years ago, where you were then and where you are today, is there anything, or what have you changed in your game to adapt to all the changes that are taking place in this game today? Is there one particular thing? Is it electronics? We hear guys talk about it on the show, how electronics have changed the game. What is it about your game that when you look at it from 10 years ago to today that you've changed, if anything?
I'm more addicted to the big baits, the glide baits, the big swim baits. That's the biggest thing for me. But I've also, talking about my tournament performance, they used to call me Day 2 Kennedy. I used to practice a lot of different patterns, and it'd take me a day or two to figure out where I need to be, when I need to be there. And I feel like I won a few more. Now I'm more kind of hyper focusing on what I need to be doing that first day. I seem to have, jump out to a quick lead, and then it's hard to finish. So, the other big thing for me has been the batteries, the trolling motors. I can cover so much water, so much more water now than I could back then. I felt like I was always limited by my batteries. So yeah, the Lithium Pros have really helped me there. I'm covering a lot more water. I feel like I'm getting a lot more opportunities, and I seem to be dropping a bunch of them. So you're talking about my season last year. Yeah, there's a lot of big fish that would have really catapulted me to the top of a couple of these tournaments, and I lost them. And the flip side of that is I've caught a bunch of big ones this year too, but a lot more opportunities than I've had in the past, it seems like.
We had Drew Cook on yesterday, and I asked him this question because he was kind of in the hunt there. But, you were fighting for the 2022 Classic all year. You said up and down. But then kind of right there towards the end, we had Ray Roberts in the Classic. And, you smashed him on day one. We're leading that event after day one. You had a lot of people in the media going, dude, this is just Steve Kennedy's tournament. I was one of them. I was on the Steve Kennedy train there. Was it hard refocusing and then going back up to the northern swing after the Classic and how that all went down?
Yes. Yes. You're thinking about that big one I lost, obviously. And, if I caught that fish, it changes my whole tournament, really. I would go into that final day with a 3 or 4 pound lead. I go swim my jig, catch me a limit, and I probably win. But, so yeah, and that's all anybody wants to talk about for at least a week or two after. So, and that's all I'm thinking about, really. But so yeah, it was hard to get refocused going into Champlain. I finally feel like I figured out the St. Lawrence on the final day there, that third day. I wish I'd had one more day, but I was around a bunch of fish. They were just hard to catch. So, but yes, that kind of losing a big fish like that just absolutely destroys me. I don't know if you noticed. You can go back and look at that Clear Lake tournament. I've won, had the heaviest winning weight ever, but I dumped a 11 or 12 pounder on the final day that pulled the split rings off, and those hurt. They hurt bad. So.
One of the things that I've always remembered about you when we started going to the St. Lawrence and I was covering the tournaments for Bassmasters, you'd have the media guys around or other anglers, and you were always, from the time I've known you, trying to figure out how to land 4 to 5 pound smallmouth. And you've had issues with that as long as I can remember. I remember looking in your boat and you're going, no pictures of those, please. And you've got 7 different ways that you've got swim baits and drop shots and jigs and all sorts of stuff rigged. Do you think you finally figured out the best mousetrap to land those big giant fish?
You're talking about the big smallmouth. I had issues. Yeah, I had issues going back. Anytime I tried to use, a jig head over a half ounce, they were straightening hooks. I started running a treble on a piece of braid, and they were still straightening out my trebles. I had to go to a 4X treble on that deal. And but no, I actually figured out a little deal. Who was it? I can't call his name, but yeah, one of the guys gave me a sliding jig head. So you screw the swim bait onto the jig head, and it slides up the line, and then you got a single treble in the top of that deal, and yeah, it's like a number 8 treble I'm using, and they can't throw it. I mean, I did miss one that I watched him eat it right beside the boat, but I don't really feel like I hooked up on him. But yeah, anyway, I've been working on a lot of stuff trying to land those bigger smallmouth. You get a 5 or 6 pounder and a heavyweight jig, and it's ugly. I mean, I'd love to throw a tube out there. I'd love to throw an ounce tube out there and snap it around, but getting those big fish in the boat with that deal is almost impossible. They're going to throw it. So anyway, we're always trying to figure something out that everybody's not doing. So trying to stay ahead of the crowd a little bit.
Is that commercially available? The heavier sliding jig head, or is that
Bill Lowen? Bill Lowen's the guy that gave it to me. So I don't know what it's called.
Smallmouth guru Bill Lowen.
Anyway, he's close. I think I could improve it a little bit, but he's got a cool little deal going right there. And, I don't know who makes it. I don't have a clue. But
interesting.
But I did catch some pretty nice fish on it.
Cool. Steve, several people on the instant feedback and the comments want to know, what do you prefer, throwing a swim jig or a swim bait?
I prefer to throw the big swim bait. I do better if I keep a jig in my hand. I have been trying hard, especially this year, and trying to get off of that swim bait deal. But I just enjoy throwing that big bait. The bites are visual. I mean, same with the swim jig too. But yeah, you get to watch them come up and eat it in crystal clear water, and it's such a challenge to me. I mean, those are fish that most people don't mess with because they're so hard to catch. And anyway, it's what I enjoy doing. But again, the swim jig and flipping a big jig is something I have to do a lot of just to stay in the competition. So, and I enjoy doing it. I mean, I enjoy fishing anyway. So, drop shot, maybe not so much, but.
All right. Drew Cook yesterday, and we're referring back to that show. It was a really, really good show in case you guys didn't know.
He was pretty good.
And he talked a lot about electronics and how electronics has really changed the way that he approaches so many things. What are your thoughts on the whole forward-facing sonar stuff? Are you dialed in on it? Do you like using it? Is it a difference maker? What are your thoughts?
I didn't have a good tournament on it this year. I got it last year. Was the first time I had the opportunity to use it back in the fall, and I took my son out there for the first time. Typically, we go out there jigging a spoon, catching. We average 100 fish a day type deal, catching suspended spotted bass at Lake Martin, and so my son, he goes out there. He's not really into it. He'll go out there all day, and he might catch 5, and I'll catch 30, 40, 50, I don't know how many, but he has no idea what his bait's doing. He has no idea what's down there looking at it. He's never really caught on until that first day I took him out there with that active target, and he was actually up there with me throwing elbows because he could actually watch his bait come up. He could watch the fish swimming up behind it. If he got too high, if he got too low, he knew how to adjust the bait to get it in front of the fish, and I bet that first day he used it, he caught more than 20 bass. And wow. And again, this is the first opportunity I've had to use it. I want to get up there and do it too. So we literally were throwing elbows on the front of the boat.
Wow.
So, it is a game changer. But again, everybody's, at this point, everybody's pretty much got it. And, it's a bigger advantage when only a few guys have it. But I didn't have that big event with it. I mean, I used it a bunch. I caught several fish, especially at the St. Lawrence. I found some fish that I caught on it, but and it was a player at at the Classic there. That biggest fish I lost, I actually saw him in practice. Really, the only one I saw where I pitched the tree and watched the fish swim out there and eat my jig on the way down and in practice. And I thought it was a little one because he spit it so easy, but I did get to see that fish bite the bait in practice, and got him to bite in the tournament. Not that I caught him, but it just, I don't know, the way our season set up, I didn't feel like it was as big a player as I was expecting it to be, I guess. But but it's a cool toy for sure. It's amazing. It's amazing the information you can learn. The other thing I went and looked at some of our crappie trees. So we got some trees out there we always catch crappie on, and they'll just, black out a typical depth finder. But to actually watch all those crappie, there must be 100 of them or more in one school, and they just morph around the tree as they're swimming around in a school. They don't really separate out at all. It's just like one big blob, but you can see the individual fish moving around. And I had no idea there were that many fish down in that one tree.
Wow.
I've been fishing it for years, but I had no idea.
You brought it
cool
up.
Information.
Yeah.
You brought it up. If you had to pick one bait for suspended spotted bass in the fall, what are you going with?
Just a jig head worm, honestly. Just a little, mid size, but maybe even smaller.
Suspended. Even suspended, they eat it as it
even
falls.
Suspended, right? Yeah, 8-ounce, little light jig head with a worm, and yes, it's probably better than anything else we do. What do you call those things? The ice jigs, the jigging wraps, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's fun. We used to do it with a jigging spoon and hair jigs, but again, we've been getting a little bit better at it. So the jigging wrap does, it's a pretty neat little bait for it. And but again, the jig head worm still for bass. If you're trying to catch white bass, then you're going to use.
No, I'm trying to catch suspended spotted bass in the fall.
Spotted
Steve.
bass, the worm's better.
Okay.
The worm does. It
not that I have events coming up on Smith and Lake Norman.
Jeez.
We have the white bass have almost disappeared since the bluebacks got into Lake Martin, but yeah, the jig head worm will cull a lot of the stripes and whites and other fish. So they usually mix up, in the fall, winter time. So.
All right.
Anyway,
Steve,
good luck with that.
That's awesome. That's really good. All right, Steve, I want to reflect back because a lot of our listeners, the people that are watching now, people listen to us on the podcast. I think a lot of people are aware of what took place at Clear Lake many years ago. But what I want to reflect back on from that event is talk a little bit about what your experience was with throwing a swim bait before you got to that tournament. And I don't think a lot of people know the story. What was the scoop on that?
Prior to that, just a few years prior to that, the only swim bait that I'd ever thrown was probably a sassy shad.
Yeah.
That's it's kind of a paddle tail type deal. And we caught a bunch of whites below the dams here doing that. But as far as throwing big baits, I used to throw the big floating Rapalas, Norman baits, waking them for stripers, like up at, where we used to go. We used to go to Lanier at night when they'd stop the trout. And so I had some experience around, big fish chasing trout. But as far as swim baits, they really, it was a West Coast deal. The guy that talked to me the most about it was Fred Rubanus. He told me about that Bass Pro Shops bait. Obviously the year before he'd caught them at where we go, Amistad, I think it was. So he finished third at Amistad on that Bass Pro bait. But yeah, he didn't tell me about it until I think his mom or he had called every store in the country, buying up every one that could. And anyway, I was looking for him. My dad ended up finding 300 of them at Bass Pro Shops in Macon, Georgia, back in their bargain bin for $2 a piece. And I told him to buy every one of them. So
wow.
He filled up a shopping cart with one bait. But that was, really, I threw it some at Amistad. I think I weighed a 37-pound bag at Amistad right before we went to Clear Lake there. But really had only been throwing it for a couple of months, maybe a year. I don't even think it was a year, just that first couple of months of the year. So and when I got out there, I went and bought like $3,000 worth of swim baits, which was a bag about this big. It really wasn't all that much, and really didn't know what I was doing with them. Just something I wanted to try, and the first day of that tournament, I went out there and threw a football jig, caught 20 pounds, and came in 51st place. And
yeah,
I'm like, I might want to go try to catch some of those swim bait fish that I saw in practice.
Yeah. And you did.
And I did. And yeah, but I mean, the local guys were throwing that osprey, the light hitch color osprey. And I tried that and they'd follow it. Apparently they'd lean it a few times, but apparently the Huddleston had not caught on up there. You know, they didn't stock trout. I think there's a few in the streams that lead in there, but they didn't stock trout in there. So throwing that Hud around at Clear Lake was not a known deal until I ended up doing it.
Yeah.
And just anyway, just trying baits. I had a bunch of big fish I could see and started experimenting, trying to see how to catch one of the bigger ones. I mean, I could pull up there and catch a 5 or 6 pounder every time I pulled up, but catching those, 8, 10s, 12s was the goal.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. So one of the coolest experiences that I had when Matt and I were out covering the Elite Series was walking into your RV at Lake Champlain, and you were tinkering with a bunch of frogs. Do you remember that? You had probably.
I don't remember you coming in, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Steve, you had like 20 frogs out on the table in the RV, and you were doing these weird tinkering, colorization, all kinds of modification to these frogs, and we stayed after that event, and we fished the water chestnuts at Champlain for the first time. And it was amazing to see the tinkering that you were doing with those frogs, and that was some of the funnest fishing I've ever had in my life. Was catching those fish in those water chestnuts. Are you still a tinkerer in that aspect? Do you still spend a ton of time in modifying baits and really kind of putting your characteristics in the bait that you want? What's the scoop on that, Steve?
Yes, I started out custom painting, crankbaits. I do a lot of that. Now it's more custom painting glide baits is what I've been playing with here lately. Yes, I spend an incredible amount of time tinkering with that stuff. That's the engineer in me, trying to build a better mousetrap, I guess. But the tournament you're talking about, yes, the chestnuts are no longer in Champlain, which just kills me. But for years we go down there and flip those things, and if you let a bait go down in there, some of them are out over 20 foot of water, but if you let it go down in there 10 foot and hook those bigger fish down in there, you could not get them out. That is some of the toughest stuff to flip I have ever seen in my life. But it was loaded with big fish, and the deal was I was getting bit on a black and blue jig down in that stuff and couldn't get them out. So I was making some black and blue frogs, which I didn't make at the time. So yeah, I was sitting there marking them up. I think I had yellow and black, so I was marking the yellow, blue, and then changing out the tails to a black and blue tail, and I was actually getting those fish to come up and hit on top and in the chestnuts, and actually had an opportunity to get them out. Once you let them get down in that crud, it was almost impossible to catch them. But we go up to Champlain. The south end has not been playing the last 2 or 3 years we've been up there. I think those chestnuts being mowed out of there has a lot to do with that. They, as they were shrinking the chestnuts, all those fish were going to the rocks and whatever else that's down there, and made them pretty easy to catch for a long time. But at this point, the chestnuts are totally missing, and
wow.
And the fishing just hasn't been the same to me. But as far as tinkering, I mean, I don't know. I got a part of one. I broke one here, but can you see it? I can't hold it still. But it's I've been painting them up to look like a perch. That's finding a good perch colored glide bait has been really hard. So I painted some up that are extremely realistic, and caught some fish on it this year, caught some on it last year, but hadn't had a big event on it yet. But it's anyway, it's got some promise. I'm working on it.
That was cool.
Just a completely neutral question once again. Does that perch glide bait play on Thousand Islands?
Oh my gosh.
I've had a lot of fish come up and look at it in practice. I had a smallmouth that I swear was 8 pounds, choke it, swim off with it, but it has not played in the tournament. No, once you get, all our guys going over these places, and those big bite type deals just go away so quickly. So anyway, you got to do the other stuff before you go play with the big stuff. It's just the nature of the game. But yes. It's pretty cool to see what you get come up and look, for sure.
So
a lot of my practice is just looking for fish. And then, you got to figure out how to catch them in the tournament. But just seeing them and knowing where a big fish is a big deal sometimes.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about the schedule for next year? When the schedule came out and you looked at it, what were your thoughts?
I mean, there's some good ones. There's some good ones. St. Lawrence is by far my favorite. I'm glad we're going back up there. St. John's is, I've had some good ones. I've had some bad ones. It's, but I like going there. The Paris chain makes me nervous. We'll be there around the spawn. It gets crowded then. There's some offshore hydrilla, I think, now that I don't know those places, so I'm kind of iffy on that one. I might get my paper out. Where else we going?
What is it, Santee Cooper?
Yeah.
Santee, yeah. No, anyway, I've had over 100 there. I got a belt from there. So, yes, that one should be perfect. Absolutely perfect. Unless we get just some kind of crazy cold front, that one should be incredible.
South Dakota?
South Dakota.
Hawaii.
Hawaii is intimidating. We don't have a lot of time up there. I think we're going out of a place 2 hours north. So.
Oh, really?
Yes, we're not.
Oh, you get to explore more surface of the moon.
Anyway, that is a cool place. But yes, I stayed too close to the ramp. Everything I was fishing got beat up, and it's a huge place. I don't know how long it is. I mean,
it's like the moon.
It can be 200 miles long. I don't know how long it is. It's one of the biggest places we've ever been, I think. And anyway, there should be some good weights come out of that place. I don't know that I'm gonna be the one. It makes me nervous, but
it's one of those. I'm
looking forward to going out there for sure. That was one of our favorite events from a couple of years ago. So, except for the storms, of course.
Do you eat fish during practice? No, I'm asking that because of wahi. Yes, because of a wahi and all the walleye and stuff, and you're kind of eccentric as far as that.
Definitely.
You will eat fish during practice and don't feel like that the fish gods punish you for that?
No.
Okay.
I'll eat them every day.
Okay, I just had to ask that when we brought up a wahi.
Yes. No, yes. Yes, if I catch a walleye, it's going in the fryer. I guarantee you.
Okay.
There you go. Hey, Brian on the comments wants to know, do you want to go out west, or is that just a pain? What are your thoughts?
Yes, I want to go. I was very disappointed when we didn't get to go. When was it? 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Especially that Columbia River event. That was probably the one I was looking forward to the most. And we had a month to get from there back to the St. Lawrence. So we were planning on going all the way to Alaska from there.
Wow.
But it didn't happen. So, but yes, I love going out there. I'm actually going out to the U.S. Open. I'm going to go out and fish the U.S. Open, assuming there's some water this fall. So I'm looking forward to going out there. But again, I understand the complaints of some of the guys. It's a long trip. It's a lot of money, but I want to go. I mean, that's what I want to go fish all these cool places. So I'd like to see a little more rotation in our scheduling. A few more. I don't mind going back, but let's go back every other year. So. But yeah, Steve, I like going new places. I like the travel. That's the biggest part of it to me.
Yeah, Steve, you've been doing this a long time. A couple of people want to know, from a physical perspective, health-wise, are you doing okay? Is things going good? I mean, I'm an old man. I'm starting to feel the aches and pains. Or what are your thoughts on that?
I'm actually feeling the best I've felt in 5 or 10 years. I don't know how much I've talked about it, but I had half my thyroid taken out 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't know how long ago, 8, 10 years ago. But yeah, getting my medication straight on that. You had to take a pill to, what is it, levothyroxine or something. And so yeah, getting my medication straight on that took a year or 2 or 3 years. And but no, that yes, it's wearing on me. There's no question. Getting old, my execution is not what it used to be. And looking at some of the videos, I'm not making the adjustments to keep some of these fish hooked up. And part of that's getting old, I think. But actually, honestly, I've been the best thing I've done is I got a pull-up bar in the doorway to the kitchen there. And I don't do a lot of pull-ups, but I do just lean into it, pull, working my back, working my shoulders, working my arms, and really helps with throwing those big live baits. And anyway, I've had that there for 2 years now, and it's making a difference. A lot of my aches and pains are going away, which is anyway. But yes, they're just catching up with me. There's no question.
All right. Hey, do you like to ocean fish? Have you done that? Do you like doing that at all?
Yes.
He fishes everything, Mark.
Dude,
it doesn't matter. A trout, a salmon, a grayling.
I am just asking the questions that the
creek
people want to
chub.
know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If it swims, Steve catches it.
I want to catch it. There's no question. Yes. I've hooked up a bunch of times with tarpon. I've had them touch the leader. I haven't had one in my hands yet, but yes, I absolutely love saltwater fishing. I got 2 Boston whalers out in the backyard, and yes, anyway, I love it. Absolutely love it. We go down to Cape San Blas. We go down the Keys anytime we're in Florida, and yes. If it bites,
cool.
I want to catch it. Catch it on fly
What's on your
line.
to-do list? Like, what's freshwater? What have you not caught that you're like, I got to catch one of those?
Anyway, I'd like to go salmon fishing out on the West Coast, Alaska. That's probably my biggest.
You've never done that?
Water. I've caught some kokanee. I've caught the salmon
but you've never done the Alaska thing.
No, I've never been to Alaska. I've been to every state in the country except Alaska. So that is on our short list. We thought we were going 2 or 3 years ago. We got
As he said,
a little bit of
you
time.
would freak out.
We've got time this year, but we're probably not going to do it this year. So
you would freak out.
I would anyway. Yes, I would eat it up for sure. But, as far as saltwater trips, I want to go a Tortugas deal. Anyway, the kids are 10 and 12 now, so they're ready to game. They're game to go anywhere. So
nice.
That's the one I want to do. Go do an overnight out there, camp on the island, and catch whatever's there. So.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, Landon wants to know, what are your thoughts about the lack of grass on Eufaula now? Did they spray? Any idea what the scoop is on that?
I haven't been down there to look. I hadn't even. Anyway, I doubt they sprayed on a scale to get rid of all the hydrilla. Usually it's a muddy water event that gets rid of the grass. I hear guys complain about spraying all the time, but again, it takes a lot of spray to get rid of all of it. So I don't think that's it personally, but I don't know.
Hey, I want to know, Steve, is there a rod or reel in your arsenal that is, we would classify it as vintage? In other words, it's something that is very, very special that you would use in certain situations that somebody might look at that and go, wow, Steve Kennedy's using that? Do you have anything like that, Steve?
All of my
Everything, Mark. Everything. It's like bamboo with old Curados.
Come on, man. It's serious. Serious question.
Obviously, the old Curados are going back 25 years and
wow,
never lost a gear. Some of them are in worse shape than others. I've replaced a bunch of bearings, but they go back 25 years. I've got probably the oldest one that I'm actually using occasionally is an old Lew's pistol grip.
That's a thing on this show,
awesome.
Steve. We talk about pistol grips and Carolina rigs.
I do. I like to throw a little flat side on it, and I don't have a better rod to replace it still. So
how long is it?
But that's 5.5, I think, maybe 6. I don't know.
Wow.
It's a little bitty thing, and when they came out with it, they came out with a little. I mean, they were really popular back. I don't know if it was late 70s, early 80s, that type deal. but they came out with a little cheap plastic molded on handle. I absolutely despised it when they came out with it, and but it's so much lighter than anything else, and it's grown on me. So I've got 2 or 3 of them left. I've got a one and I think I got 2 1-powers and 1 4-power left. They're pretty brittle, so I mean we went through a bunch of them over the years, but we used to jig a spoon with it. I mean it's perfect for jigging a spoon too. But
that's awesome.
But that's Breckenridge signature series model.
But yeah, I mean I got a lot of rods going back 15, 20 years, so but they're getting thin. Part of my that's probably why I'm losing so many fish.
Hey,
gotta be
serious
rods. It couldn't be me.
Hey, have you ever broken a rod in anger? Never.
Never.
Okay.
Any occasion, no.
I just wondered.
No reason to break a rod.
Have you ever had a melt? Have you ever just had a come apart where you were like, man, I lost it there for a second?
I don't know. I mean, I can't recall one. No.
Yeah. I don't remember one.
I mean, I curled up in a fetal position twice that I don't know. At the Classic and at Clear Lake.
It's the line of the year. That's the line of the year, Steve.
So far.
That's the highlight of the show right there.
It's, I'm sweating, dude.
That's the line of the year.
But I didn't break a rod. Anyway. No, I can't think of one. I probably should have. It'd be cooler, huh?
Just crawl under the console for 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness!
I lost that 11 or 12 at Clear Lake. I think I did, and yeah, at the Classic I did. Dude, those hurt. They hurt so bad. The 11 or 12 was the biggest fish I ever hooked, I think, and pulled the split ring off. And anyway.
Yeah. All right. Hey,
I still
Eric. Yeah, you did. All right. Eric wants to know what's your favorite flat-sided bait.
I got the old flat sheds, I guess. It's probably my favorite. I've got a bunch of them, the old gulps. Before that, we had something called a Suddiff. But the flat sheds, which I don't think are made anymore, I've got a bunch of those, and that's probably the one I go to the most right now. They work.
They do work. They do work, Matt. Fetal. Don't ever crawl in the fetal position in the studio, okay, Matt? Oh, man, that was good.
Drifting 2 miles an hour down the St. Lawrence in the fetal position, just
that,
careening towards an island, just going, I don't care.
No, don't do that. All right, man. We have to talk just a little bit of football.
I need a fan.
No, you're okay. You're all right, man. You're good. All right, Matt and I both being University of Oklahoma graduates. What are your thoughts about Texas and Oklahoma making the move to the SEC?
I don't know what to think about it. I didn't see that coming. I don't know. Just never even considered them being in the SEC. So, I'm more, I'd like to go back and be able to play like Georgia Tech. I mean, being an engineer, I thought that was one of our bigger games. We lost that when, the SEC expanded before. We lost Florida State. It's, there's a lot of unknowns on, who are we going to be playing and as our regular rotation. We only get to play Florida every other year. I guess, is that right? I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So there's, a lot of the teams that they played back when I was there, we don't get to play anymore. But it should be good for the SEC or they wouldn't be doing it. And I know my wife's excited.
Hey, we're excited.
Matthew McConaughey is going to be coming to Auburn. So
you're right.
You're right.
Hey, JR is too, if you know who JR is.
What are your thoughts on it? I don't know. I haven't, we've been fishing up until a week ago, so 2 weeks ago. So I haven't thought about it a whole lot. But, so.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about it. I mean, I know we talk bass fishing and everything else, but since Matt got back. We did talk about kilts. I think it's a good thing. It's quite obvious the reason that this is happening is money and for the future. I mean, that's it. And I think it's going to be cool. And I have my fingers crossed, Steve, that Oklahoma State is going to end up in the Pac-12. Because I think here in Oklahoma, it's going to be cool to be able to go see Oklahoma play at home against Alabama or Auburn or whoever from the SEC, then drive up to Stillwater the next weekend and watch OSU play USC or UCLA or Stanford or whatever. I think the quality of football that we can see here in the state of Oklahoma, if OSU ends up in the Pac-12, it's going to be really, really cool for the fans.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't looked at all that, so I don't know. But
sorry.
Or we could end up on Owen Field in the fetal position.
They might.
The thing about it, I mean, when you expand it that much and you've got two teams of that caliber coming in, then somebody's going to be taking losses. Somebody's not going to qualify for a bowl. Somebody's, there's.
I would like to point out that OU is 110-49 in the SEC, so against SEC. Current SEC
You
opponent.
pulled that out.
Okay.
I had no idea.
I had that. And Texas is 191-91. So.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah. How many
and
times?
we all know what happened to Florida.
Yeah. How many times did we play Vanderbilt, though?
Yeah.
Oh, Steve. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch.
Is there ever a chance where Auburn will play OU?
Oh, yeah.
Even in intra, we won't
like
be in the
every
same
other
division?
year, every 3 years or something like that.
Other year.
Yeah.
Will you bring the camper down and park it next to Hallman out in the field over there by the basketball thing, and you guys could just stare at each other? But it's Auburn versus OU. Can we live stream that? Can we strap a GoPro to your head, a GoPro to Hallman's head, and we could just have the Auburn versus OU stream?
While we wear our kilts? Yeah.
Wow. Hey, I will say this, and somebody has pointed out numerous times to me, not just on this show today, but other times, I think OU's in for a big surprise from a competitive standpoint on how difficult it is to duplicate what they've done all these years in the Big 12. Competition's much better, road games much more difficult. So it's not going to be
the conference or who's in our division.
Yeah.
That's what I keep saying. Somebody's going to win, but somebody's going to lose. So,
Yeah.
You can probably scratch a win off several teams' schedules.
Jeffries, I feel like if a team has a poor year, they should immediately get dropped from the SEC. Listen, that's a 12-game sample size, and the SEC is saying, it's the top level of tournament of
I'm not even going to go there.
Football competition, and if they're not cutting the mustard, if they're in that bottom 20%, all they're doing is they're hurting themselves and they're holding the conference down. So they should immediately get dropped back to.
What
the AAC,
the Missouri Valley,
the Mountain West, something like that. They had over 8 opportunities to show that they belonged in the SEC, and if they couldn't cut the mustard, I think 1 year and they should be dropped.
Dude,
bring in some new ones, see if they can compete in the SEC.
Jeez,
how many opportunities do you want?
There's gonna be some extra losses for somebody somewhere.
Yeah,
it's mathematical certainty. So
yeah. All right, Steve. What are you doing during this long break? Do you have any plans? What's going on?
Fixing everything we broke during the season. That's the first month. I didn't share it too much, but my trip went for a little saltwater bath at one point this year. So I got a speedometer. I've had some bad bearings. Anyway, I got a lot of stuff that I gotta work on this year. So a lot of maintenance, I guess, is a better way to put it. But,
all right. A couple people want to know
But again, we're going out west. That's that's our. We got that U.S. Open out there at Lake Mead, so we're going to try to spend a month out there. We were hoping to go backpacking through the Grand Canyon, but we didn't get our permit, so we may do the first come first serve type deal while we're out there. But
need a permit to do that?
Yeah.
Yes, there's only 30 sites down there at the bottom, 30 campsites. So they limit the number of people that spend the night in the bottom of the canyon. So you can hike through it. You can do a through hike in a single day, but I don't think we're up for that. But no, we're trying to do some fun stuff out west. I hope. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything else, Matthew?
No, I got in all the personal questions. I got in the jabs. I got in the serious questions. It was golden.
Slow day, apparently.
No, a great day, especially when you're on. All right, last question I have, Steve. I really want you to be honest. Is this a really, really good time for Steve Kennedy in the professional fishing world, and everything basically going on plan where you want to be career-wise with the age that you're at to get to whatever goals that you might have for the remainder of your career? What are your thoughts?
We're way behind, going back 15 years here, but yeah, we're getting a lot of attention, a lot more than we have in the past, for sure. They, is it translating into my back pocket? No, but yes, we're having fun with it. They, I was talking about earlier about being, day two Kennedy, focusing on that first day more. I've been getting a lot more TV time as far as, being in the top 10, going into the second day type deal, and then taking the lead early. A lot of these guys they don't even weigh their fish. They just throw them in there and say a 5-pounder is a 3-pounder or whatever. I'm not sure what they're doing, but by actually weighing my fish, I feel like I've jumped out either to the lead or in the top 2 or 3 pretty quick on, day 2 or 3 on some events. And yeah, I've been getting a lot of the Skype calls. I caught a 6-pounder on Skype this year. I caught a 5-pounder at Pickwick on Skype.
Yeah.
So I've been getting a lot more media attention, and we're live on Fox now. So yeah. So that's pretty amazing. But not that I get to watch it, but
it's cool. It's really cool.
It's going the right direction. I'm impressed. I am. There's no question. It's going the right direction right now. So.
All right. Hey, a couple people want to know, and then we'll let you go. Do you know what boat that you're going to run next year? What model?
I haven't had a chance to look at the new Bass Cats.
Okay.
It looks so awesome.
I know. We were fishing up there, and then we made a beeline down to ICAST, and so I haven't even had a chance to see them. And but dude, I love my Era. I can't imagine improving on it. Anyway, I like it. I'm not looking to change, so I'm hoping to run that basket Era for sure.
All right, man.
It's still the fastest that I know of, and it just fits me. It suits what I do. So
good stuff, man. Thank you so much for taking time out, man, and being on the show. Always love having you on BTL, man.
Yeah, good to be here.
All right, a lot of Steve Kennedy fans out there.
He's shell shocked right now. He doesn't know what to do.
I don't even want to think about what I said, what we did.
It's all good, man. There are thousands of Steve Kennedy fans out there, man.
Anytime you want to do it again, just give me a holler.
All right, man. Have fun with the family, and hopefully you will be able to make that trip out to the West Coast and do the U.S. Open if there's water in Lake Mead.
There's water. They're getting a little bit of rain, but I haven't seen the numbers come up significantly. So
yeah.
But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. That's one of the coolest tournaments I've ever been to. The coolest lakes to fish I've ever been to. You're talking about a moon cave. That place has got it too. So,
It is.
All right. It is amazing.
Cool stuff, Steve. All right. Take care, man. Best of luck to you.
Later.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
There you have it. Steve Kennedy. Great dude, man. One of my favorite guys out on tour. Been following him for, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Never forget, I've said it on this show. I've got where's the bait at? Is it sitting up there?
The HUD?
I got the
and
HUD
the jig
and the football jig.
And the bass tricks.
Yeah. Is it up there? I thought it was up there.
It's somewhere.
I know I didn't lose it.
Yeah, it's the HUD is like the tail of it.
Oh, it's sitting on top of the basketball right there.
Where?
Let's see, it's right here.
Oh yeah. No, is that
Yeah, it fell
See,
down.
yeah, you need to fix that.
Yeah.
The tail's breaking on the huddle
I don't
still.
know, but that
Look,
that
Steve's
right
in the-
there.
Steve's in the queue.
Yeah, he's still there.
See, the
That-
tail's broken. That's not good.
No, but the HUD and the bass trick.
I don't know how the bass
football
tricks isn't
jig.
slimy yet. Those things used to get slimy the way they
Yeah.
dipped them all that, and then you'd open up a pack and it'd just be like slippery.
Yeah, it's kind of dusty.
Well, yeah, it's like
I know.
15 years old.
Yeah, that was so cool, and I know Steve, you're still listening. Thank you so much once again for allowing me to.
You love to
hang
talk
on to
about
this.
that. You talk about that every time we have
it's
him on.
awesome.
And we've had him on for the last 10 years, and every 10 years he's
It's
got to
just
relive
so
Clear Lake.
cool.
He tells the
It is
same
so-
stories over and over.
But it was different this time. It was different because I don't think I ever asked him that question, how many times or what his experience was with a swim bait prior to that event.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
We kind of went all over the map with him today.
It's all good.
Yeah. I feel like he's got some more suspended spotted bass secrets. He just didn't feel like divulging it.
Jeez, man. I can't believe you're like prying him for info.
Well, I'm just saying, I got Smith Lake and Lake Norman, and it's both in the fall. It's going to be suspended spotted bass with some bluebacks and shad chasing them. And this guy, with his experience on Lake Martin and how much he likes to fish, probably had some secrets up his sleeve. But you know what I get?
Yeah.
Ned rig.
Did you seriously think he was going to give up the juice?
I get Ned rig and how to catch white bass.
What's wrong with that?
I mean, I thought there might have been something a little bit in there that he would have just kind of snuck in. Now, I will give him credit. He did give up the Bill Lowen juice, which I went and I made a note on. And then Bo, who was, there goes my pen, my broken pen. Bo put it up on the instant feedback on what it was, and I looked it up, and that's pretty slick. The slip shad. That's really slick.
Yeah.
It goes up to a half ounce.
You going to order some? Maybe?
Yeah, well, I mean, I apparently believe that I can't catch anything on anything else other than a drop shot, so it's kind of pointless to buy other stuff at this point.
Or a Ned rig.
I'm a
you catch a lot of fish on a
drop
Ned
shot
rig.
and a Ned rig from Florida all the way to New York. I mean, literally, that's all. Ned rig, wacky rig, and drop shot. Out of every fish I've weighed in, that's the entire open season except for 3 fish.
Huh.
And one came on a glide bait.
Well, no, you had a spook fish, too,
As I said, one came on a glide bait, and one came on a
spook?
a vixen.
Okay.
And one came on a worm with a spinner on the back in Florida.
What?
One of those poche deals.
Oh, okay.
Those are the only 3 that weren't on a drop shot, a Ned rig, or a wacky worm.
Hey.
And I mean, we're talking...
And you might make the Elite Series
We're
doing
talking
that.
Florida, Pickwick, Douglas.
What's the old saying? Fish your strengths, man. That's your strength. How many events is it? 6 that you fished?
I
Is that
fished
right?
5.
5?
Yeah, and every single one at Oneida was on a...
Drop shot?
Drop shot.
Huh?
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's a crutch.
Maybe you need to practice more. Go throw a crankbait, man. Have you not been listening to Frank? Forget about the Carolina rig. You'll never throw that. What's your confidence like with a crankbait? You used to throw a crankbait all the time.
Can you put a leader under it with a weight?
Seriously, man. You used to throw a crankbait all the time.
No, I still throw it. It just hasn't worked for me. Like at Oneida, I had 19 pounds on a crankbait in 10 minutes on Tuesday night, and I went, oh my gosh, this is going to be crazy. And I never caught one in the tournament. Same thing happened to a couple different guys.
Did you not give it enough time? In other words...
No, I gave it a lot of time. The fish were not there.
I know, but hear me out on this. Did you go to what you felt... Basically, your strength was obviously the spinning rod and reel and doing what you did. Did you give it enough time?
Yeah, I gave it 30 minutes first thing in the morning. I mean, dude, if those fish were there, they attacked it. I mean, it was one of 2 things. You were either pull and drag or it went completely slack and they were all 4-pounders. But it didn't happen in the Derby. So, I mean, I'm giving stuff a fair shot. You know, that's a good point, Jim. When was the last time in a top-level professional tournament that we saw a 3-way swivel being used? outside of a double fluke before it was illegal? Has there ever been an application, the 3 swivels?
Yeah.
It looks like a weird religious symbol.
So you can't use a double fluke anymore? I did
you can't.
not realize that.
But has there ever been a guy who top 10'd using a 3-way swivel on anything?
Before it was banned?
No. Is there any application for a 3-way swivel in top-level tournament fishing right now? I mean, the thing's popular as heck when you're like drifting a leech on a spinner rig for walleye.
I don't know.
But I'm just thinking bass application, a 3-way swivel.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Neither can I.
Huh. Besides the double fluke.
And a lot of guys are just using a swivel with a swivel on the side so it slides so you don't get the fish that pop it going each way. Where it's legal.
Huh.
That's interesting. If anybody can send apparently there's a kayak angler who won in a kilt. You got all that message already.
Yeah.
But I want a legit kilt fish. You want a legit kilt fishing picture. I don't. I want a tournament result like on the FLW site or Bass site or, like a BFL where it's like, John caught 19 pounds in the mid-lake region because it's always the mid-lake region on this with a 3-way swivel.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
You ever notice there's never been a BFL not one on a generic bait in the mid-lake region? It's always a mid-lake area on a moving bait.
Yeah, for years.
That's all it is.
Especially Grand Lake.
Go back and look at the results. It doesn't matter whether it's on Lake St. Clair or Okeechobee. It's a mid-lake area on a moving bait.
Yeah.
Hit a number of spots.
Yeah. Hey, man, great stuff with Steve, though. He's awesome and really appreciate him coming on the show. All right, honestly, man, right now, do you think that OU is going to do well in the SEC and then we're going to get out of here? Seriously.
Do I think that OU is going to do well in the SEC?
Yeah, in football.
Yeah, I mean, we'll lose 2 or 3 games a year probably, but it also wouldn't surprise me to go in there. I mean, the SEC is the SEC, but there's also the teams just like there are in every single conference. I think it really depends on where the divisions go.
If they split them up.
Yeah, if we're like Mizzou and Texas A&M and, there's a lot of wins to be had there. I mean, it's not like our schedule is going to be Alabama, Auburn.
Yeah.
LSU.
I do not want to get too deep on this, but think about this. With the exception of when OU plays Oklahoma State and Texas, for the most part, all the other schools in the Big 12 right now, what happened at least in the fourth quarter most of the time?
We put in a backup quarterback?
Yeah, and the starters aren't in there, and you're not as beat up as you're going to be when you play all these SEC teams. And I think that's going to pay a toll on what's going to happen. Dude, it would not surprise me if they have 4 losses.
But here's the other thing. It would also not surprise me if you get 1 or 2 losses and you have actually been in the close games where the starters have gone down to it to the end. And then when you get in the college football semifinal, you've been there and done that.
You're not going to get there unless they go to a 12-team playoff. They're not going to take 3 out of the 4 spots from the SEC.
They almost did the other year when they took Alabama, and remember Georgia was number 5, and it would have been 3.
Yeah.
Was it Bama and LSU, and then Georgia ended up number 5?
Yeah, I just can't see that happen. Anyway, it's going to be fun to watch.
Here's my question.
We'll
do
see.
we get the short end of the stick in the Big 12 till we leave? The OU and Texas. I mean, we've won 6 conference championships in a row. I'm pretty sure if we get out of this thing after this upcoming season, they don't want us to take the ball in 7 conference championships. It would be awesome if, for the Big 12, if, say, Oak State, Tech, West Virginia, one of those is like, hey, we're leaving with the championship in the conference.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think, and the other thing that I think this year is going to be the last year of OU and Texas in the Big 12. I think they're going to pay the buyout. They're going to do whatever they can. There's also a rule in there that states, and I heard this on the local sports talk show, if all the other teams end up in other conferences and the Big 12 folds, there is no penalty. In other words, there's no buyout, there's no penalty, there's no fine, there's whatever you want to call it. So if the other teams hook up with another conference and the Big 12 is dissolved or merged, next year, OU and Texas in the SEC.
Right.
And that's what needs to happen. I think the Big 12 is history. Done. You agree with that?
Matt Ellis, you're a Vols fan, man. He's living back in the Peyton Manning days.
What? What, with Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, there's going to be some great games, though. Can't wait. Cannot wait until that happens, and I think this will year.
It'll be awesome because everybody, it seems, in the fishing across that Southeast, a lot of SEC. Would you not agree?
Yeah.
So now we can go into a whole bunch more rivalries.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, man. Tomorrow, day 4 with Frank, and then we are doing night shows next week.
Yeah. One of the night shows is going to be the Rule Show. Since we had to move the 24-hour show, I've gotten a lot of good feedback on that. It is going to be a full hour dissecting obscure rules in both the MLF and the BASS handbook. Stuff where you're like, no way was that legal. Why wasn't he DQ'd? Or why didn't he do that? Or how was he able to do this? And then you go back through and you're like, oh, that wasn't illegal? Or you're like, that was legal? There's a bunch of those little things if you go in there.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about those things. Some guys take advantage of it, some guys don't. I think there's some guys who know the rules backwards and forwards, and some guys who just go out and fish.
Yeah. In case you didn't listen to yesterday's show, we have to move the marathon show. And Matt and I actually have a date. It's going to be in October. I know it's a little ways away.
A date for the marathon show.
Yeah, for the marathon show. Not a date. Oh, we got Chick-fil-A there coming on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the marathon show that was planned for August 9th and 10th is going to be moved to October. Matt and I are going to finalize the date after the show today, and then we'll let you guys know tomorrow. So marathon show is going to happen. Just I've got this 2-page certification training thing that I have to go to on the 9th, 10th, and 11th. So that's why we're doing night shows next week.
Good show, Mark.
Yeah.
I guess
stuff,
it was,
man.
I guess
it was all over the place. Well,
I laughed.
Anytime you have Steve Kennedy on and you talk about kilts.
Yeah, well, we opened up with an entire segment on kilts and then brought Steve in. Like, where do we go from there? Like, we didn't exactly tee it up for him. He was kind of...
No, Steve is awesome. Awesome. He can come on here on BTL anytime. All right, that's it, folks. Day 4 tomorrow. Once again, thank you for all the comments, the feedback on the YouTube page. Don't forget. The what?
The lure.
Yeah. Don't forget, please subscribe to us. And if you're listening to the podcast, leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. It helps us out immensely. That's it. We're out of here.